Hi, I'm Jen. I am Generation X. I am the eldest year of Generation X. I turned 59 this year. I'm single and I've always been single. And so I've always known that my retirement, if ever I was going to have that privilege, was going to rest entirely upon me, my efforts, my choices. And the reason that I'm revisiting my retirement plan today is frankly because I've been reading news on the internet and it's making me a little bit anxious about, money. Article after article seems to be saying that my slacker generation may have been slacking off a little bit too much when it came to retirement savings. Gen X ranks consistently as the group least prepared when it comes to stopping working. As a Gen X single female, this is concerning. And while I have a plan in place and will hopefully be retiring in 6 years when I turn 65, I thought I'd better review my plan and make sure that all of my numbers are adding up for me. Now, I could make an appointment with a fee-only financial advisor, or I could do it myself. Being silver and solo and a DIY kind of girl, I went sleuthing around on the internet and found this really cool Canadian Retirement Income Calculator on the Government of Canada website. Now, I know that not all of my viewers are Canadian, and so don't worry. I kept on sleuthing and I found similar calculators, retirement income calculators on the websites for US.gov, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. I'll put links to all of those other government websites with the retirement income calculators on them in the description down below. But I'm just going to walk through the Canadian government ones since those are the numbers that are familiar to me. Now, I'm not going to use my actual personal information, my actual numbers and financials in this calculation because that's private and personal. Anyhow, for my little example that I'm going to do today, I will use numbers that represent the average Canadian woman of my Gen X age group based on Statistics Canada's numbers for 2022, which is the last year that they had numbers for, I guess. And I've rounded them up and fleshed them out a little bit to make them more relevant for today. As a disclaimer, this is all hypothetical. The retirement income calculator that I'm using is just giving rough numbers. It is not meant to replace a financial planner or professional help. It's just meant to give you a good idea of what your numbers could be. And also, I am uniquely not qualified to give financial advice to anybody for anything. That being said, let's go. So I'm going to use as much information that's similar to me as possible without giving away the whole baby in the bathwater. So the month of birth is September, and we will scroll to 1965 here. And female. Current income, I'm going to use not the $51,000 that was average in 2022. I'm going to use $60,000 as hypothetical Jen's income. Hypothetical Jen wants to have the same amount of money in retirement as she's earning right now. I have great faith in my genes And I think I'm going to stretch that out a bit and say 92. I can only hope to live to 92, but I feel more comfortable with that. Next, Hypothetical Jen and Real Jen both contribute to the Canada Pension Plan, and we do not have our statement. So we'll just say, we'll take the average. How pathetic is that for a government pension? $717, that's the average. She will start to receive it at the age of 65 because that's our retirement age. And I will not keep on working after I start CPP now. Employer pension. Okay, Hypothetical Jen will also be working for the same employer that I'm working for. And we have an employer pension, and it's a defined benefit. After 10 years, Real Jen would get a certain amount, and I think Hypothetical Jen will get a little bit less. So we will say $15,000 is probably her 10-year pension. And she was to receive it at 65. And yes, it is indexed to inflation. And we can see that my little bars are creeping up here towards my goal of 60,000. Retirement savings. Okay, Real Jen and Hypothetical Jen both have retirement savings. An RSP, yes. But we'll say that she has $200,000 saved up. She contributes monthly to this RSP, and she contributes $300. She wants to start receiving income from the RSPs at 65 and stop receiving it, gosh, no, not at 71, at termination date at 92. The average rate of return, do you expect? Well, actually, Real Jen and Hypothetical Jen get a decent return on their RSPs. So we'll say that, and we will just continue on next. Believe it or not, I have this little side gig called YouTube, and so does Hypothetical Jen. And so, yes, I will have other income, and it will be, I'm going to call it employment income, monthly, $1,500. We'll say she earns $1,500 a month from YouTube. Real Jen earns, well, you can check out my Patreon site to see how much I really am making. At what age will I start receiving it? 58, yes, right now. At what age will you stop receiving it? When to stop with YouTubing? I don't know, 70? 70 is a good day. Other income, and actually I do have another source of income, Real Jen and Hypothetical. And so there's my employment income, and I'll select another one, being that I'm going to maybe receive an inheritance, and I will not be receiving it now. I don't want to think about when I will, but again, I think I'm going to say maybe at 70. I don't know. Inheritance is a funky thing. I don't know that you actually want to count on an inheritance. I certainly don't. Every time I have a disagreement with my mother, I'm out of the will. For now, I'm in, and about $100,000 in that eventuality, if she stays in the good graces with Hypothetical Jen's mother, and she'll start getting it at 70, and we will space that one out until the very end. Yeah, that's helping out a lot, actually, towards our $60,000 goal. I don't have any other income, just YouTube and possible inheritance. Now, Old Age Security is another government program in Canada, and you don't have to pay into it. It's just automatic when you turn 65. So do you expect to be living in Canada when you reach the age of 65? Yes. Will you have lived in Canada for at least 40 years? Yes. And what age do you plan to receive your old age? 65, yes. And here's the disclaimer. And I will hit continue, and it gives me a little summary here for the information provided today. So it's got all of the information that I entered into the app, and oh look, my goal is 60,000. Average retirement income, it says, is 55,536. But I think that's because it's counting from 58 to 65, which is the time that I'm making YouTube income. I didn't put in any other income from 58 to 65, which I would have. So we'll just discount that and look at the rest of the numbers here. And if you can see, all of the little bars are above $60,000 for 65 until 92. Hypothetical Jen is going to make it. She's okay. She's going to have her goal amount of income all throughout her retirement. Now, I think the really valuable thing that you can take away from a calculator like this is that you can just keep rerunning it using different scenarios. So tweaking those numbers and those dates or just changing the amount of money that you're saving in your RSP. Even now, only 6 years from my retirement date, if I changed my savings rate, I can change how much that I will have in retirement. I can change when I could retire, all kinds of things. And those scenarios you can keep running and running in this calculator until you come up with one that really fits your goals and what you want. But then it's not always about numbers, is it? In retirement, I'm going to have to think about more than just what's in my bank account. Now, I've decided to work until I'm 65. I'm healthy. I have a good job that allows me to work from home. And I also get certain benefits that come with this defined benefit pension plan that I will get from this employer if I stay for 10 years. And they're benefits that I want, and I think maybe also that I will need. More on that later. But for me, 65 is going to be the age. Do I want to retire earlier? Yes. Can I retire earlier? Also, yes. But I know that I want to travel and maybe make some improvements to my home later to make it more convenient to live in. And those will be expensive, and I'm not willing to sacrifice them. If I lost my job or had a health incident that made it impossible for me to continue working, I could swing it. I would have to give up those dreams and live a sparser life. So not all of my considerations about the age that I'll retire are about money. Some are about the quality of life that I'll have, and some are about bucket list items and dreams that I have. Don't leave those types of things out of your plan either. I've already said that my parents are in their 80s right now, and my brother, who lives fairly close but in the United States, he and I worked together when we were both in our early 50s to wrangle our parents and get them to move out closer to us so that if anything should happen, we would be available to assist. That duty will likely fall mostly to me since I live only 4 doors away from them, and he would have to fly, ferry, drive to get here. He could and he would, but it will fall mainly to me. Lots of other people in my age group have not only senior parents to watch out for, but they also have the added thing to think about, perhaps adult children who are not quite out of the nest yet. And those people have to balance helping both. And that help may encompass something in the financial realm, and it may also just be time or space in the basement or the spare room, or just emotional availability. Family is something that everyone should take into account when they're trying to answer the question, are you ready for retirement? Since I live in Canada, the vast majority of my healthcare needs are going to be covered under our universal healthcare system. So yay for me. But things like dental, eye care, prescriptions, and various therapies and alternatives are not covered under universal healthcare. I need supplemental insurance, which I get right now through my employer. If I retire at 65 with 10 years service with my current employer, which is the plan, then my employer will give me the opportunity to remain on the supplemental insurance plan that I'm currently on for a reduced price, which is actually a very cool deal. And so given that consideration, I definitely want to stay and get the 10-year retirement package from my current employer. So 65, again, is the age that's really working out for me. If I knew that I was going to be leaving early and would have to buy my own supplemental plan, I would definitely book dentist and eye care appointments, physical therapy appointments, while I was still covered under my employer's plan in order to get everything done and dusted before I left. I have a mortgage. I've always been solo, and so I wasn't able to put together a down payment and actually buy a home until only 4 years ago. So I will be carrying this mortgage into my retirement with me, which is not ideal, but it is a mortgage. It's not a bunch of credit card debt. And I also have quite a good amount of equity in the home right now, so that's good insurance. And I know that it's my forever home. It's a rancher, it's got a small yard, it's in a gated community, there's no stairs, my neighbors are all of a similar age. That's something to think about when you're looking at retirement. Where are you gonna live? Are there amenities close by? Hospitals, senior services, grocery, and is the house too big for you? Should you be downsizing? Should you wait until you're retired to think about this stuff? No, now is a good time. If you don't think you're going to need the 5-bedroom family home in the suburbs when you're retired, now is the time to start thinking about when would be the best time to sell it, so you're not under the gun having to sell it. And also, what would be the best place to buy in order to retire in. You may want to think about starting to look for homes that would better suit your retirement lifestyle, the retirement lifestyle that you want to have, and whether you can afford that. Add that into your retirement planning. Again, I'm leaving all of the retirement income calculators from all of the different countries down in the description box below. And so feel free to start doing a little tweaking and twerking with your numbers of your own and leave me a comment.